Okay, welcome. We're gonna wait a few minutes for some more participants to join, and then we can start. Just checking that everything. Can everyone see my screen? Antonio, you see my screen?
Yes. Yeah, that's perfect.
Nice. We'll wait just one more minute and then we can get started with introductions. Okay, then I say we start. So we will just start with an introduction to us as speakers. So first of all, we have me. My name is Tanya Saya. I'm a technical specialist at IBM. And with me, I have Antonio. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, of course. Hello, good morning. I'm Antonio. I'm compliance officer, WESTPOLE, Belgium and Luxembourg. And my role is ensure all compliance and ISO norms. Okay, that's my role in the society. I started working in WESTPOLE. There are more or less an hour and a half, 1 year and a half. Yeah, that's okay. My experience is more than 20 years in the ISO norms and compliance.
Yeah. And my portfolio that I focus mostly on at IBM is storage. So today we're going to talk a bit about how the new regulations and everything going on can impact your organization. So first of all, we're going to talk about how cyber attacks can happen to anyone. So we're going to talk a bit about what is happening around the world and also how you can understand the impact of NIS 2 and DORA on your own organization. Then we're going to go into how we at IBM incorporate this into our products within storage, and also how our products within the flash system family, block storage, how we're navigating these new cybersecurity directives, and also how you can prepare for the future going forward. So looking at what's happening around the world, we've seen a lot of cyber attacks going on. And what you might think is, okay, this is something for the security section on your company to look at. But this is something that we're seeing is becoming even more important to look at in terms of data storage. So with this brewery in Belgium, I'm sure you maybe are familiar with it. Duvel was shut down its service with 5 production sites in Belgium and in the US being shut for several days. So this had, of course, a large impact and fell victim to a ransomware attack. Um, we also had a similar attack happen in a Belgian government. So they have had some Russian hackers take down several Belgian government websites. So this is something that we're seeing not only in private companies, but also public and governments. So it's really something you need to look at. And if we're looking even further into the future, as this is becoming more and more common, this is now being kind of said to be a nation state cyber war. And that in itself complicates the problem even more because um, this would also cause some things to happen with insurance companies. So what is happening is because these are attacks happening against humans, from humans against humans. So this is kind of being portrayed as acts of wars. And as you might know, insurance policies have you have to look at it from that point of view. So therefore, it's kind of new policies are being put into place because of this. So because of this, it will might no longer include in case of a cyber attack. So you need to look at, are you being insured? Are you actively taking measures to detecting and recovering and responding to a cyber attack? And that is a bit on what Antonio will look at and how we're gonna implement this new DORA or Digital Operational Resiliency Act. So I'm gonna give the word over to Antonio to go over the new directives.
Okay, hello again. The objective of this presentation is to show you the main points concerning to DORA and NIS2. Okay, and it's interesting to see what main points we have for today. I'm going to present a short introduction based in the information shared by Tanya. And after understand a little bit the requirements, my objective during this presentation for understand the requirements, I'm going to present the common points between NIS2 and DORA. And after the risk management and controls, because these norms, the focus is how to manage the risk and to establish the correct controls in order to avoid the cyber attacks, the threats, and the important economical or financial loss. Okay. At the end, I'm going to conclude with a synopsis with the both norms, NIS2 and DORA, and standard ISO 27001. Because normally several organizations has also this certification ISO 27000, yeah, the management system about security, the information security. And after we have some conclusion and the open points, if you have some questions, okay, that's the main points for myself during these almost 15-20 minutes sharing these points. Okay, next. Okay, what is the context why we speak about NIS2 and DORA? NIS2 starts, the story of NIS2 starts in 2003 with NIS1. Okay, when we start with the IT policy to the development with informatical tools. Of course, the threats and the risks integrating these tools was always a critical point. And with the evolution, and now since 2002, 2003, the overview is most important, in particular after the Ukrainian war. Okay, And I'm going for this overview. We have main critical points. One point is the digitalization for the financial market, in particular for the banks, insurance. Okay, for this reason, we have DORA. In particular, it's a legal framework for all European financial sector, and it's not mandatory to transpose the national legislation. DORA is a directive. It's mandatory, considering this directive as GDPR. Okay, we don't need to transpose for national law because it's mandatory, and this norm is the same for European countries. NIS2, the directive of cybersecurity, was adopted in December 14, 2022. And the main goal is to have the common level of cybersecurity for the network and information system across Europe. But the particular point is each country needs to adaptate this directive, okay? And it's a little bit the different DORA for financial sector and NIS2 concerning several sectors and for the critical essential entities and important entities we should go or should see the next slide. We can to see the scope of the different norms. We have the entities DORA concerning what is the scope for DORA, and we have the listing based in Article 2 of this directive. If you see, if you consider, we have the most important things is about financial entities, correct institutions, payments, account information service provider, electronic money institutions, and we can see in this article many and many points. And for the IT providers, it's very important to consider these sectors because as a provider or as a supplier or subcontracting, we are concerning if you work directly with the financial institutions or if these institutions establish as a requirement DORA compliance. Okay. For the other side, we have the scope for NIS2 is other sectors. We have two types of sectors. We have considering the definitions NIS2, we have two definitions about entities. We have the essential entities is the next one. Okay, we should pay attention. The risk is higher than the next two. Energy, transport, banking, financial market infrastructure, health, drink water, digital infrastructure, and public administration. That's the next one for the essential entities. For the important entities, that's the degree is important, but not so higher like the next one is for the postal, waste management, manufacture, production and distribution chemicals, and digital providers and research. What is interesting, for NIS2, we need to consider two levels, okay? If you see, we have the two small lines in this slide. This directive, we need to consider it's applied for the medium size if you have more than 50 employees and a turnover higher than 10 million euros. For the biggers, more than 25 employees and turnover superior 5 million euros. Okay, it's very interesting to see. We have some common points about NORA and DORA and NIS2. The DORA, the focus is the bank, the insurance, the financial sector, but NIS2 is concerning the critical sectors, considering the NACE code. Okay, it's the code of activity. Okay, that's the point. And the next, I'm going to try to resume these common points, DORA and NIS2, considering the 25 keys, okay, 25 points about DORA, how to integrate DORA, how to consider the main points about the different requirements. Okay, basically we have five main points. ICT risk management and governance. It's the most important thing that we need to do or to analyze. The implication of the leadership and the engagement, the commitment about cybersecurity, because everybody needs a resource. And the second point, very important, we need to perform a risk assessment and to evaluate the risk for know where I can to improve and to establish the controls. The second point, reporting and notification of ICT incidents. This point is also very interesting because if I don't report everything, if I don't share the problems, it's impossible to really evaluate the risk and to improve. The third point is ICT third-party risk management. This point now is stronger than the past years, including ISO 27001, because it's not only outsourcing. We should consider also the life cycle perspective. Does mean the sub-outsourcing, the origin of the companies, and is to understand the outsourcing of the outsourcing. If I share with you the popular version, okay. And another very important point for, in particular for DORA, is digital operation resilience and resilience testing. We should test periodically our system. And the last one is the information sharing between financial entities. Okay, how to share with the entities of supervision these critical points and to establish or to improve some regulation about resilience. Okay, and now I'm going to present these 25 key points. The first one, it, it is to establish and maintain the ICT risk management framework, information and communication technology about risk management. Okay, this risk management includes strategy, policy, procedures, protocols, necessary tools to protect the information, and the most important assets. If I consider the language ISO 27001, the primary assets and the supporting assets. That mean the most important assets, and the supporting assets is including the people, sometimes the different technology. Sometimes we consider is not important, but in the context of security, we should to evaluate the difference points, the critical and the less critical points. We should also to include in this risk management system the computer software, hardware, servers, data centers, physical structure, people, subcontractors. Okay, and for this point, WESTPOLE has an excellent tools. The GRCC is a governance risk compliance center, is our platform for performing the risk assessment, considering the different standards and different norms. After we can share a little bit more information about, but the most important thing and the question for the people is how to integrate the different risk management or risk assessment. DORA speak about risk management or risk evaluation. NIS2 as well. ISO 27001. All norms, all requirements normally present. How to integrate that? For example, if I consider GDPR about data protection, we can to integrate different risks, to combine different risks for optimize the process and as well to provide the efficiency, okay, and the efficacy about the performance of our ICT management system. Okay. The second point linked to this risk management about is how to report my incidents. To assume that we have problems, it's a very important point. Sometimes, if I consider my experience, sometimes we have some difficult to describe, to determine which kind of problems we have or we had, and how to share with the concerned people, with interested parties, or to do or to perform a really root cause analysis about these incidents. In particular, incidents with cyber threats. Okay, and this point, it is the goal of NIS2 and DORA is to to document these points, to analyze the root cause, and to perform or to have some KPIs for measure our performance about our resilience. Okay. We should to after to analyze the root cause analysis, we should, it's mandatory always to reevaluate the risk. Okay, if this incident is very important, we should to communicate these incidents to national competent authorities. Okay, in Belgium or in Luxembourg or in France, we have the concerned authority, and in accordance with this directive, we should to communicate for okay, not like an inspection, but an information for improve the system as a country, or as an organization, or as a sector. And we should also to maintain detailed record of incidents, including defects or response actions taken. And we need to have this documentation and to in considering the gravity or the impact of this situation, we should conserve and to ensure the traceability of these important incidents. Okay. The point C, considering these 4 points, the importance of the third-party risk management. Sometimes we don't. I have the confidence with the provider. Yes, I work. There are 20 years. Okay, this confidence. It's very great, but we should evaluate periodically this third party concerning the resilience, the potential risk about cybersecurity, about IT threats, and what kind of things I should to do for manage well the outsourcing and the sub-outsourcing. Okay, for this reason, we should develop more in detail the ICT third-party service agreements. The SLA needs to be more exhaustive, considering this potential risk if I work with subcontractors. And these providers, we need also to integrate inside my risk assessment. If, for example, I give an example, if we have just one provider about, I don't know, about infrastructure or about some software. But if this subcontractor has a default or it's a problem, which our solution, okay, if they have economical problem, okay, for this reason we need to analyze the risk and to assume if the risk is acceptable or not. If not acceptable, we should take some decisions. And another point is ensure the compliance continuously. We should audit or to verify or to implement some procedure for ensure the due diligence considering the risk management. Okay. The next point about digital resilience testing. That's a very important point. It's stronger than ISO 27001. For example, this point, share the cyber threat information and intelligence with other financial entities in case of DORA. and how to participate and to share this information in order to mitigate, to eliminate, and to ensure this resilience. The resilience does mean ensure our perennity, our duration in the context of market, minimizing the risk, the IT risk. Okay, I have here a small design, but the most important thing is to transmit the confidence to the interested parties, in particular for the customers. Of course, it's because if you implement everything, is not just for avoid or for prevent the risk or the threats, but for transmit the confidence to our interested parties, in particular our clients, our customers. Okay, and that sometimes it's a way to transmit our ethical approach, our engagement for protecting the society. Okay, that's the main point for the resilience. For this reason, we need to have some plan about testing, how to test our infrastructure, which kind of tests I should do. Can I provide some evidence or some plan about this? Tests. That's the main points about resilience testing. Okay, and the next point about information sharing. Okay, we can to test the assess of effectiveness of digital resilience measures is not do for this problem I have this solution. No, but if you have this solution, we should to test. For example, I should to perform some business continuity plan. I should to test my disaster recovery plan. I should to see if I'm available for working the situation, the emergency situations, and after to perform vulnerability assessment is linked to the risk management system, in particular with the penetration testing, to ensure and to document these main points. One point very important is I should to test based in the size, the complexity of our system. Sometimes we have the simple system, sometimes it's more complex, and it's depend of the sector. For this reason, in considering these two, we have the different categories, the next one and next two, for the different sectors. Okay, and the next point is how to manage these five aspects. The most important thing, just for implementing everything, or these main points for Dora and NIS2 in few minutes, it's very important to ensure the leadership and to have the commitment or engagement of the leadership and the okay. It's very important because if who is the owner for approve all policies is the top management, okay, and who is the owner for approve the budget for controlling or mitigate the risk is the top management. Who is the responsible for approve our digital resilience of business continuity and risk management plans? It's always the governance, and the governance should also periodically to present a management review about the performance of ICT. Okay, we can continue. And the last one point, very important, is the next slide, is also to audit and testing. Okay, we have here the approach PDCA about auditor, and I should to audit based in different norms. In this case, about DORA and NIS2. The approach of the audit is always the same. It's based in ISO 19011. It's a methodology for auditing, considering the PDCA. We should plan, we should perform the audits, and I should to communicate the results of this audit for evaluate the risk. And this plan needs to be implemented considering the size and the activities of the criticality of this point. Okay, the organization. Finally, the last point is about contractual standards and exit strategies. That's mean if for example, if we change people, the critical people managing these points, what is the exit strategy? If I have a provider or critical provider, we should to mitigate the risk, we should to eliminate the risk and ensure the resilience of my activity. Okay, if you finalize some activity, we need to ensuring the continuity of the critical functions. Okay, that's very important point. The contractual standards needs to include this exit strategy concerning technical, organization, and people. Okay. The last one, the most important thing is we should train the people. The next slide, please. We should to have a training plan. We should to implement training sections and in parallel to do frequently, weekly, monthly, some awareness with some exercise, with some flash, with some newsletter about good behavior against the threats, or against the cyber attacks, so again, all for ensure the best practice. The last and after for continuing, I have here a synopsis. I don't want to expose a lot of information about that, but it's interesting to see. I have taken 5 points for doing this synopsis for resume a little bit the different DORA and NIS2 and ISO 27001. ISO 27001 can to be an excellent tools for implementing these directives because ISO 27001 it's a IT management system is okay. It's tools for management for the continuous improvement. About legal, DORA is a regulation, meaning it is a directive applicable and enforceable in the UN member states. We don't need to have some transposition. The other side needs to have transposition to national law. ISO 27001 is not legislation, is a standard. ISO standard, it's an option for the organization, except if it's a requirement from the customer. The scope and focus. The DORA scope, in particular for financial sector, needs to considering the energy, the health and digital infrastructure. We have seen, okay, the objective is the aim is to enhance overall cybersecurity across these sectors, the critical sectors for managed country. And the scope and focus ISO 27001, it's generic. You can implement if the company has one people or 1,000, or if the invoicing is, I don't know, 100,000 euros or 100 million euros, we can implement ISO 27001. Is facultative, is okay. We can to implement for the small, medium, or big size companies. The third point, implementation and deadlines. Please, the other slide. DORA, it will be the deadline 17 January, and NIS2 is 17 October. That's mean we need to have this implemented, but we have 2 years more for doing that, and after in 2026 it's possible to have the firstly sanctions if you don't have this norm implemented. The objective is the resilience is very similar, and for ISO 27001 is to ensure the continuous improvement about IT security. And last one, enforcement regulation. It's immediate legal effect. And DORA and NIS2, it's a legislation we should implement. The ISO norms, we can implement as you want. Okay, that's the synopsis about DORA and NIS2 and ISO 27001. And what is the next steps, the conclusion? And for our side, for WESTPOLE, we can provide a gap analysis considering these main points to do a statement of the situation, considering the different norms. And after to do this gap analysis, we can to perform the risk management or to identify the primer and the support access and the risk management system based in our tools GRCC as a tools for integrating different risks, considering the different risk, and the objective, the final objective, is to ensure the resilience and to optimize our process and to combine different norms in order to save money. It's very important because the investment is important. But if you don't have the capacity or the maturity for combining different processes, it will be difficult because the most we can have another risk if you don't combine the process, or if you don't have the process approach, is to do the different risks approach separated, and after we have another risk, disorganization, and some contradictions about the risk analysis. Okay, for my side is that. If you have
Mm.
questions after, okay, I'm available for you.
Okay, thank you, Antonio. And I think this will be large going forward, right? I think for Dora, for example, they will have a lot of fines as this is going into all the laws as well. So this is important to consider and is being put into place quite soon. So any questions about that, we will also take those towards the end. So I'm just gonna fly over what we at IBM have. So with all of these kind of new regulations and directives coming into place, we want to adhere to these, of course, in our products as well. So what we have looked over is some of the main points, such as risk management. We have a inline threat detection, so you can prevent yourselves, or you can kind of see these attacks happening quite soon in the attack phase. And you also have some recovery methods in case it happens, and also preventative. But what we will look at first of all is just the overall flash system family. So this is our block storage that we have at IBM. And I just wanted to show you that we have all the way from entry to high-end storage. So this is for your most simple storages with the 5015 and all the way up to extremely fast 9500. So in these, what is special with our flash system family is that we have our own developed flash core modules on these, and you can add these to them. So that is something that's very special. The flash core modules are a product that we have developed at IBM. It's a further enhanced SSD, you can basically say, simply, and I'm going to go over and give a side-by-side comparison with a flash core module and an SSD. But before, I just also want to quickly cover the software that we have. So we have IBM Spectrum Virtualize and IBM Storage Insights. So with our Spectrum Virtualize, you can virtualize a lot of different legacy systems. So if you have other boxes from other vendors, you can virtualize these if you buy the 53 and up. So you can virtualize your own systems to get these newer functions that we have on the flash system. So basically, it's just simulating a flash system. And with the IBM Storage Insights, you get a proactive monitoring. So if you get the IBM Storage Insights Pro, you can get these ransomware threat alerts. I'm going to go over that a bit later, but here you can see we have a really good flash system portfolio or storage portfolio. So if we look at a side-by-side comparison on why our flash core modules stand out, this is because we have zero impact on performance across the full range of your workloads. And what we have is also a better or a longer longevity with these flash core modules because you have you're moving the data, so you're not wearing out the flash core modules, you're being very proactive with how you're using them. And you're still getting these latency as low as 50 microseconds. You're constantly keeping heap bins getting moved around, so you're not really using up that much. So from we've seen now, all flash core modules haven't worn out. None of the flash core modules that have been sold have worn out yet. And within these now, within the 4th generation of flash core modules, we also have a dedicated chip for inline data corruption detection. And that is something we're going to look at as well. And you can see here also it's listed as a ransomware threat detection. So here you can just see some of the abilities and why we're kind of standing out as compared to the SSDs. So how are we doing this inline data corruption detection? So essentially, we're scanning in the I/O before it's actually being written to flash. So you're more capable to alert any case of intrusion much earlier, and then also potentially limiting the impact to a single application or a volume. So what is happening is then you're getting these analytics, you're sending it to being analyzed. So we're constantly learning in our storage insight model. So what we're seeing here is what is expected and what is not expected in terms of the mannerisms of your writes. So as data comes, it is a full sweep of data that's being sent and then analyzed and then being sent. If it's an alert, if it's a ransomware, it's being sent out as an alert, or it's being shown as something that's benign. So you have a lot more time to act on it as well, because you can see it much earlier as well. Okay, so what is happening in case of an attack? We have this ransomware threat alert. You have this real-time analysis happening. So what happens if you want this sort of rapid recovery? So pretty much most vendor nowadays, we have immutable snapshot. Ours is rolled up in a brand called Safeguarded Copies. And what's different is that because it is a snapshot, it is a point in time to recover from, but it's also immutable. And it's also nested deep down in the software where it comes to this CVE on the control plane. So you don't really see these. These are logically air-gapped from the appliance in case anyone tries to come in. So these are hidden from the attackers. And then you can also gain the ability to recover from these because they're readily available as they are still based in the primary array. Okay, and then you also have a very good function called the two-person integrity authority without need to contact support. So in case you want to bring these back, you have a two-person integrity authority. So you don't have to go to the support line, but you can do it within yourselves. Now, you have the copies, you have the alerts. we don't want you to wait until the crisis actually happens until you can run through your copies and see if you can recover. So what is a good way to do this is the IBM CyberVault solution. So it's built on safeguarded copy, which delivers immutable copies of the data on the primary storage array, as we said, and it can make it recover super fast. So one common attack method involves changing file access time that can cause backup software to miss critical data. So for example, to prevent this, CyberVault checks both the integrity and the consistency of all the files. So making sure all the data in the files are correct. And that makes sure that the backup is complete and reliable and is ready to be restored when needed. And this system also uses a clever technique of creating snapshots of the snapshots, so making the data even more accessible without affecting the original backup. And this can then give an even faster restoration, whether it's you're dealing with 1 terabyte or 100 terabyte or even more. So how do we do this? Well, we have a deep scan that you can do to see any anomalies in your backups. You can automate and catalog the backups with Copy Data Manager and use this kind of scanning to identify the last known good copy. And you can also test build's confidence and ensure the compliance, which we all know is getting even more important. So what we're doing is we have, as I said, the chip in the flash core modules that's detecting this. Within this, we're kind of offloading a lot of the software tasks to actually have it hardware based. So you're not losing performance, you still have the low latency, and you have the lower cost because we're creating these flash core modules ourselves. And you're also getting a much better storage offer with our cybersecurity and NIS2 directives that's coming up. So one of the points that also Antonio showed is you need to have this business continuity and rapid recovery, secure backups. You need to ensure communication and data encryption and access control. And this is just something that you can get with our boxes and safeguarded copy. The safeguarded copy in itself is a function you get when you buy the storage, but you might need to do some extra sizing to make sure that you actually fit the copies as well as your original data. If you want to do any malware detection, as I mentioned, or forensic analysis or do the clean scanning, you can you can also add Storage Sentinel, our software that's a part of a toolbox that we have called Defender. And for backup, we also have some solutions. So these are all something that we need to look at and make sure, do we have methods to come back in case of an attack? Okay, and what are we seeing here? So this is a bundle that we're trying to show that we have this operational resilience bundle. So with this, you can have the Flash System 5300 within it the FCMs. So you get the newer flash core modules, the most cost-effective and densest flash or block storage there is. And within it, you can also add the Storage Insights Pro, so you're getting the alerts from the flash core modules, and with it, you can also get no additional cost cache upgrade. So this is a good kind of bundle to get started. This is a good way to kind of, get started into the world of cyber resiliency, and then we can keep building even further on to have backups and such. So if we're looking at next step, we have a free security and resiliency assessment. Reach out to us if you're interested in doing this. This would be free of cost for you. It's no real code or testing in that case. It's more of a conversation that we would have with you. And within this, we also have some of the DORA pillars that Antonio have mentioned as well. So we will look over broader perspective. If you don't really know where to start, we can help you find a place to start. And then Antonio's gap analysis can help you dig even further when you know what you need to focus on. And then you can also see how our products might fit into that strategy we would build with you. So this is free of cost. You can reach me if you're interested in booking an assessment. We will send out this presentation after. So you will also hopefully get this as well, and I will add a link where you can see more about this resiliency assessment. So from that workshop, you will get a presentation and a report on how to kind of build going forward. And if you have any other thoughts, you can reach me. I put down our mail address if you want to talk to Westpole more about Dora. And of course, we have a bit time now for Q&A. So I think that will be next. Thank you for listening. Okay, so if you have any questions, you can write it in the chat. We will see if anything pops up. Then in the meantime, I can take some time to maybe ask you, Antonio.
Yep.
Do you know the structure of the fines for DORA? Are they a percentage? Are they how is the basis on the fines that could be handed out if you're not complying with DORA?
If you're not compliant by DORA, you have many risks. The first risk is to lose the customer. You can have some sanctions. Different sanctions can represent it's depending. In case NIS 2, the sanctions is more objective and you can lose. We have several sanctions about that. Important. We can have different tend to have a third sheet, the 2-3% of the invoicing. We can lose. We have the image to defend. And about DORA, if you don't have compliance, we can to work in the financial. At the end, you lose the activity, or you can to perform this activity with financial institutions. The most interesting thing is eventually relationship with this question is how many time we should to implement that. For a medium size, normally the gap analysis, we can take the gap analysis on place between 3-5 days for ensure all points of compliance. The different points, the different 21 or 25 points that we have seen. Okay, and that's important. The most important thing is to perform the risk assessment. For this reason, we propose also GFCC for this diagnostic between 3-5 days. If the company is a medium company, between I don't know after the complexity, but after the gap analysis, we established the roadmap for implementing, but more or less. We can to have 20 days, 25 days, 13 days for implementing all process, management process, because after if you need the infrastructure like you have present, normally we need to invest some money and the time. But the most interesting is we can to evaluate the situation, to do the gap analysis, and in accordance with that, to establish the roadmap considering the results and the availability of the company. The most important is to grow this continuous improvement in order to ensure the resilience.
Yes. And you have a question, is NIS 2 applicable for the telco sector?
Yeah. It's for the telco, yeah, for the telecommunications. We have in this point the slide, the second slide. Yes, we have missing this point, but
Mhm.
because it's for the technological infrastructure, we have the postal and courier service. Yeah, of course, in this point we have the telco. The telco, yes, it's an important sector for these
Yeah,
critical sectors. Okay.
I think most sectors are covered by
Yes,
NIS 2,
yes,
right?
covered.
Yeah.
Yes, I have present the most important sectors, but of course the telco is including this point.
Mm. Perfect. Thank you for the question. Do we have any other questions?
Another question is eventually the people are how to perform the risk management. What can
Yeah.
tools, which methodology? Normally it's not simple. We can start okay, the best practice. We can start with the normal ISO 27005, 27005. We have listing different vulnerabilities and threats. It's an excellent inventory, but we don't need after to investigate a little bit more if you want to start searching the inventory of the risks, which kind of risks is linked to the cyber security and to the resilience. Linked of these
Mm.
points, it's a new points. That's ISO 27005. The inside this listing, don't explore like Dora needs to these cyber risks. Okay, it's identified,
Yeah.
but is not so developed.
Yeah. Okay.
And just another comment, it's very
Mm.
important. Sometimes we forget the subcontractors, the
Yeah.
providers,
Yeah.
but we should pay attention about the principal providers or suppliers and the subcontractors of these providers or suppliers. It's very important to considering the risks, the technological risk, and to
Mm.
analyze the criteria and to integrate these points in the SLA. Okay, for establish the contract, but at sometimes to integrate these points inside our risk assessment.
Mm. Exactly. Okay. I think we're gonna wait a few more minutes if anyone has any questions, but if not, then thank you so much for your time. We're always open to speak more about our solutions and how we can help you. Of course, we had both the free assessment at IBM, and you also have the gap analysis as well, right, with WESTPOLE. So we're very open to discussing even further. I think it's good to start thinking about this already, even with NIS 2, even if it's not, um, it needs to be overlooked. It needs to not be overlooked with Dora. Good.
Okay. For my
Thank
side,
you.
thank you for your attendance and for this moment. And if you need something for my side, I'm available for you. Just okay, if you need some information about our methodology or our process for doing this gap analysis or for our consultants, I'm available for you.